Welcome everybody to Faeria Blitz. It's the first ever tournament with 20-second turns. This is an open registration tournament. We have about over 40 players today that will be competing for the grand prize of getting their own Yak avatar made in the game, in addition to FWC points. If you watched the Invitational last month after the first part of Fall of Everlife, Teddy won that tournament, and his choice, we haven't actually shared it yet, but his choice for a Yak avatar was actually a yak and a teddy bear costume, and it's already kind of been made. So somebody else will get their choice of avatar after today. This is celebrating the release of the second part of Fall of Everlife, which released last Tuesday now, with 20 brand new cards in the game, so 40 in total now over the past 2 months. We have a lot to cover today. All matches will be best of 5 in this special Blitz tournament. It's going to be a little crazy. I'm going to warn you. We actually don't know how it's going to go as far as the casting and the games. We have no idea what to expect. It's probably going to be a lot of fun, though. The first match we'll be getting into is going to be 2 great players. We have a lot of great players today, but we'll be watching CaptainG versus Rundong in the first round. It will be a best of 5. So we're going to start setting that up. We have joining us today in the casting booth will be Nick Aquablad, you may know him as. Will be casting some matches with us, as well as Helios of Flame. Helios of Flame, one of the game designers for Faeria, also known as Chris. You can call him Chris or Helios. He'll answer it either. But I think we're just going to jump right into it. There's no reason to wait any longer. We're going to cover as many matches as possible today. By the way, you can win, as usual, stream prizes just by watching. Make sure you link your Faeria account to Twitch on the hub. There's instructions for that on the stream. And you can win an egg after watching for 1 hour. You'll automatically get an egg. Those are hatching this weekend. And then after that, you have chances to win battle chests and mythic chests. So without further ado, welcome to Faeria Blitz.
Thank you, Maz. We have an exciting game coming up for you guys. CaptainG versus Rundong. These guys are like top competitors in the world circuit right now. Helios, 20 seconds. What are you going to do with them?
Per turn? I guess we will find out. I haven't seen this yet. There probably won't be much downtime, so that's nice as a caster. You don't have to fill too much dead space. Probably going to be interesting. I'm interested also in seeing what the players are going to do with them, since this is going to be something a lot of them are not used to.
Yeah, 20 seconds per turn. You know, time is normally a luxury for card game players, but at 20 seconds, you have to make your decisions pretty fast, because not only do you have to decide what you're going to do, you also have to input that decision within time as well. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, there have certainly been some famous examples of card game players versus timers. Notably, I think it was Life Coach in Hearthstone managed to get a Nosdormo in one of his games, flipped off something random, and kind of crumbled under the 15-second turn timers. So he didn't know it was coming. It was hilarious to watch. These players do know it's coming. Perhaps will also take easier to execute decks. But yeah, it changes dynamics a lot.
That was kind of my thought about deck design for this tournament. You want kind of linear strategies that don't require a lot of micromanagement on board. So you can basically just assess the board before your opponent's turn ends, and then you can make the best line you can come up with in that short amount of time. So if your decision tree is smaller, you're going to be in a much better position to make a more consistent play when taking your turn.
You can also try to use timers aggressively, though. So, for example, if you think you're better at making decisions quickly, you could maybe play decks with, for example, Bone Collector, which puts a huge amount of mass on both players, since enemies will just straight up lose games if they charge into a Bone Collector and leave it on 1 life because they miscounted.
I have a deck design strategy for this format, and I hope someone thinks of it as well. But basically, you just add Rapala and Free Famine to all your decks, and so you basically play Rapala, and then everyone's just like, and then it fills their hands, and they're just like, "Oh man, I need to do something," and then you chuck a Famine down. They waste a turn.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fun. I guess Rapala is another card that kind of pressures people's decision making under pressure. Like normally, Rapala comes down, you lose one card being burned immediately, but then you can figure things out. You figure out what order to play your cards, when you want to draw, etc. And within a turn or two, you're pretty much playing standard again. But can people figure out how to do that with a 20-card timer? If people accidentally hit draw card and just burn another card, that's so big.
Yeah, and they may look at their hand and go, well, my choices are Ruby Fish or X, and they decide, actually, I can't decide. I'm going to put loads of Ruby Fish down, and they play right into that Famine. And then you creation Rapala, and you play it again, and you just keep going until you win. That's my plan, at least.
That's a pretty good plan. I wonder what other plans the players will have. Like we've talked about general styles, like maybe some fairly linear decks. I wonder if a lot of players are going to interpret that as let's play Rush. Because Rush, certainly in a lot of situations, is a deck you can play quite fast. But in a Rush mirror, it might be interesting, especially... Like, Rush often has some quite big decisions in the mirror, like, should I attack or should I defend? And doing that on the timer could be interesting as well.
I think Rush is a bit of a bait for this format, because I feel that if your opponent stabilizes against you, if you're playing Rush... it can be really hard to like figure out how to come back, because you might need that time to figure out, what's the best way to find lethal or reestablish board. Because Rush, once it runs out of gas, then that's the hard part for Rush. How do I get back into the game?
Oh yeah, for sure. Another thing people could try is maybe we could see some move trick based tempo decks again, because if you're like, those are decks you have to play very carefully against. Sort of being one square out of position can be the difference between them taking an amazing trade with a Flash Wind or a Horsemaster, and just kind of destroying your board. So
I think another strategy I've just thought of, which could be really good, is just put 3 boulder throwers in all your decks, because only one mountain, right? Just range them, and then they have to figure out the boulder thrower problem from early on.
God. Yeah, there's a lot of cards which just force your opponents to make decisions, and those could be really good. Oh, here we get the Blitz tournament meta of... Oh my
Flame
god.
Burst and Kaleem's Prayer and Garadan for some reason.
Every deck. I'm not sure that's actually the right choice there for Garadan. Like, I appreciate the Callum's Prayer Flame Burst pictures, because frankly every red deck's playing Flame Burst. That doesn't tell you much. But every deck is playing Garadan. That's a huge amount of information. Also, what are these? So there's 27 yellow Callum's Prayer plus green. Maybe this is flyers with Tiki Piper or something. And then 2 different... Oh, wait, is that neutral? Sorry,
it's just 4 Rush decks, right? From CaptainG here.
Looks like it.
No one's utilizing that green Rush yet. They've just got some removal. You can use removal in green Rush now. You can hunt down those problems, but no one's playing it.
So, on the one hand... Oh, that is not a Rush deck from Rundong, though. There's... Red-yellow controllers, maybe? Oh... Hang on. Okay, now I'm super confused.
Rundong is definitely the braver player of the two right now, playing something that, may have some decisions, but there's also a Kaleem's Prayer, so it might be a bait. You might just suck Axe Grinders in all his decks. With Garadan, why not?
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, Rundong's got an interesting looking list here, with the Imperial Drake Riders and the Prayers. It looks like he wants to maneuver around and collect, but also just... have this potential to go, oh, you didn't, you were out of position. I guess I hit your face for 5. I now have a 5/6 with charge 2, and I Callum's Prayer you. Have fun. And he has very much identified this as Rush, so he's gone, let's block that. Oh, the choking Sansa. This is brutal.
Oh man.
Going 1 Faeria down and not even having collects at this stage in the game is so harsh. I think it just has to...
That's a toe ship and an Axe Grinder in a yellow deck.
I think this is an interesting list. I don't know what to say, really.
We
I
are
wonder
gonna
if he
see.
plays. Is he going aggro with this? Or does he
No.
just stay still? Yeah. Okay, that's more sensible. That Soul Drain was really good for him. Like the prayer in his hand is quite bad right now, but being able to block is so important. If he didn't have a play there or didn't get to make a land, it would have been pretty bad. So now, I mean, CaptainG now has a quite awkward hand as well. It's like double Zealous Crusader, that does nothing, and Rundong can +1 Drake Rider. If he gets the and then he has the Fanatic as well. So next turn he can, with the Fanatic, he can almost certainly get into a position he likes. I'm not sure about where he put the 3/4 though. It makes it a bit hard to get onto his. No, scratch that. There's another land next to it. Okay, this is good. So he's playing it a bit defensively, but it's going to be very hard to stop this corrupt.
Well, you know, with that mobility trick, he's going to get that power up. Sagittarius coming down here to try and stop this. Not going to happen. We're going to see a Sagittarius get eaten by a Drake Rider, and that's a quick decision here for Rundong.
Yeah, Rundong's just slam playing these mobility tricks we were talking about. Just saying there's no way you can figure out how to play around this in 20-second turns. Like, welcome to a 5/5 on your face, and I have a prayer in hand.
Yep,
Ooh,
this
CaptainG's hand is not what he's looking for. That helps so much, though. That was a gorgeous draw.
yeah, monkey in the middle can stop some problems here, but I think it's just delaying the inevitable at this point. It's a really bleak situation for CaptainG to be in, especially with those two Zealous Crusaders in hand. And now a Flash Wind picked up as well, so could even go face.
Yeah, Rundong has a choice here. He can go face and trigger the prayer, or he can just kill the 4/5 and go Mountain Axe Grinder. Well, he probably Mountain Axe Grinders either way. But yeah, I like this. So he's taking the trade, he's playing the Axe Grinder and saying, how are you stopping both these threats? You've gone to 0 Faeria. And like what Rundong doesn't know is he's in an even better position than that, because CaptainG's hand is pretty atrocious. Though...
No, this is pretty desperate, really. Going for the Wind Soldier face. Gets a Salmon. Salmon can eat the Drake Rider. Don't see that very often, but it is needed at this point.
But what confuses me a lot... Oh, never mind. Right, so the desert was being stepped on. Okay, I was thinking he could monk, but no, he did not have the lands for this. But this is not a good position at all. And there's a flower to deal with any Zealouses. The Zealous come out as 4/4s now, so that's actually pretty solid for 4. But Rundong is just going to go for the kill here. So down to 12. That's a 2-turn clock now.
Yeah, I'm going to write this one off for CaptainG. Not really a way to come back. You could go for the monk, you know, to start drawing some cards, but on free Faeria, not a lot going to happen here. It's not going to outrace.
Suppose he gets the prayer. So if he prayed, he could +1 demons. That's still just not doing it, though. Yeah, I think I agree with you here. Game 1 looks very solidly for Rundong. An interesting 3-color deck, and it did what was needed.
See, 3-color aggro beat Yellow Rush. Who would have thought? I can actually see the strategy for Rundong here. His deck is full of good stuff, good creatures. So his only decision is, which good creature do I play?
Yeah, it looked quite mobile. So it was yellow. In fact, okay, so it was a yellow deck splashing. It looks like 3 Axe Grinders and 3 Toe Ships or thereabouts. So yeah, he's based yellow and then gone, wait a minute, with just 1 land, I can get Toe Ship. That's great. That fits my strategy. It's flying, it's mobile, and it helps me set up these Axe Grinders, which I can also splash for 1 land. So Rundong with a handful of removal is throwing it.
CaptainG's hand's pretty decent. You know, it's got that Guardian, early Guardian to get a stable, collected down Firebomb sitting in the wing as well, ready for that in Drake Rider. Looking much better for CaptainG this time.
Yeah, this start is super solid for CaptainG. He's going to get to immediately Firebomb the Drake Rider again. Oh my god, I was wrong. It's not just Axe Grinder. That's a Lava Surge Axolotl.
Yeah, good old 12-3.
Does he have the grappling hooks, I wonder, or is he just relying on Flash Wind for this?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Maybe he has that training, he can just train it in. Smack for 12 damage.
We've seen at least Flash Wind and Fanatics, so CaptainG has to be super worried about any Axolotl, like anywhere close to his face. It could move 3 squares, who knows? It could if training's also in the mix, it could move like 6 in one turn. If you take 13, it's pretty tough to come back from that.
And now we see CaptainG, controlling the game more. So that's a very different match. Rundong just went smoke on the first game. Now playing against a slower deck, we're starting to see what the deck kind of wants to do. I think Rundong just reacted to CaptainG's deck more, and now we're just starting to see how it plays out.
So it looks like CaptainG with his 2 red decks, both with Flame Burst as their picture, has a 5-land red control and then a red rush. And partially maybe he's hoping people can't easily tell which is which when they're banning.
Does that mean he has a yellow control and a yellow rush? Just a mirror?
Well, he had prayer in both, so it's probably not control, but it might be flyers. And Rundong is, of course, Garridan in every deck was his picture choice.
Why not?
But as I said, that's a huge amount of information to give your opponent to know that they must always play around Garridan. So I think that he lost a little in the picture meta, but it was more interesting, so that's fun.
I think Rundong's just so confident that he doesn't care if everyone knows he has Garridan. He wants people to play around Garridan because he wants them to always be afraid of it.
So CaptainG's got to his 5 lands. It'll be interesting to see if he's playing the nerfed Havoc or if he's going 5 just for Baldurian.
I don't know. I feel like you can still play Havoc in red control. It's still removal. That's all you want, right?
Yeah, I think it's still playable for sure.
So big boy 12-3 coming down. Ground Shaker going to be able to clean that up easy. Yep, off he goes.
Look at the aggressive land placement. CaptainG's getting ready to threaten a Baldurian on Rundong's face, which is a pretty insane clock, right? If you just play Baldurian, hit them for 5, hammer them for 5, like suddenly they're on 6, any burn, and Baldurian will finish the job.
Rundong's still playing kind of aggressive here. If it's just Axe Grinder pass, that line you just said is going to work out really nice here.
Yeah. Yeah, CaptainG is just saying, screw it here. I'm not going to deal with your mobility. I'm not going to deal with your axe grinders. We're going to play race. And now there's somewhere you have to be. You have to be defending. Of course, Rundong actually can because he has this crystal flower. Where does he put it?
Nice in the middle between the 2 wells. And we're going to see another creature come down here in the tow ship. So just going to challenge that Divine Guardian, try and slow down the economy of CaptainG. CaptainG currently doesn't have an answer to it. He needs to also think about this Axe Grinder. Now, how is this Axe Grinder going to be answered?
Ooh, that Cypher was a 10 out of 10 top deck. These red 5 land controls really don't play that many large creatures. It's like 3 Ground Shaker, Cypher, Baldurian, and that might be it. So yeah, it's so nicely drew one of them that can contest the Ground Shaker, the Axe Grinder so nicely.
Yep, and we see the tow ship go for the Rakoan there. I'm not sure why. I guess Rakoan was just put there to line it up to 4 life. Maybe in case, like, I don't know, Firebomb's picked up?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So one thing to note is as soon as Baldurian exits that Crystal Flower, he will immediately get Hammer. Like, there's no way to really deny it. There's so many lands around. And there's the Havocs we were talking about, so that's one of the 5/4s dealt with.
Yeah, nice and clean. He's killing off that 5/4, protecting the harvesting on the left-hand side, which is pretty crucial for CaptainG to keep up with the cheap creatures and have that removal available. The reason CaptainG gets to draw a card every turn is because he has a Divine Guardian sitting in between the wells. And I mean, Rundong's caught onto this now. It's just trying to challenge that left-hand side.
So here's Faeria as well. It's nice to see that a lot of the cards that got nerfed still are finding their place. Like, as a designer, it's nice. Yeah, we didn't destroy these cards, and it's cool. Like, Faeria is a really cool card. The only problem with it was just seeing play in literally every deck. So yeah, I'm super happy to see this.
Yeah, you want it to be in some decks, right? You want it to fuel the event strategies, not just be a guy who collects any deck events, right?
Yeah, exactly. You want it to be a situation where players go, does my deck need events, go to 4 lands, and once, maybe can use the protection, can use the mobility, rather than just, does my deck play at least 4 lands? Cool, Fairy. That's...
Ooh, cheeky grappling hook.
It is a cheeky grappling hook. It's not even from the deck with the salamanders. Salamanders? Axolotls.
Yeah, just another way to get across the board. I've been enjoying grappling hook recently. But we see a throw. Yeah. Towel here, red control, $2.
Yeah, Rundong did not want to deal with that Baldurian.
Yeah, I mean, the Crystal Flower is a form of inevitability sometimes. Like you said, as soon as he gets that Corrupt trigger, he's going to have that 5/5 with Divine, sorry, not Divine, Protection. And it's going to be a bit of a problem. But now we have Rundong having to go towards these other 2 Garadan-based decks. Which one?
So this is main blue with... What are these decks? Okay. So it's 13 blue, 10 neutral? What? I guess we'll see.
So some form of blue control, 5.2. Was that the Faeria count? 5.2?
I didn't see. Okay. So it's a Highland deck. It's got Yakapults. Oh my!
Ooh.
Oh, it's Yaks. Oh, that's awesome.
Mama of all Yaks.
Okay, I believe.
I believe in the Yaks. I've been playing a lot of Yaks recently.
So this was blue-red, yellow, right? So it's got the potential combo of Sapphire Yak with Topaz Yak to get the immediate 6/4 haste.
Oh yes, that's pretty fantastic. Considering the Topaz Yak can collect, it has to collect to trigger it, but it's nice to have that kind of mobile removal tool that can, sometimes stay alive if you get that trigger off the Sapphire. And if you have more than one Sapphire, you get multiple triggers. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so Rundong already with the Mother of Yaks in hand, I guess wants this to be a reasonably slow game, especially when they're playing Moby as well. Oh my goodness. But one thing we haven't seen yet is any Yaks. I guess there's some chance that this is just a blue 7s deck and they've just gone, wow, for 15 Faeria I get a 5/8 and 2 4/4s. I just want to do that anyway. That's possible.
Good old 15 Faeria. I mean, it's better value than Tarim, right? So I'll put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you at some point Mother of Yaks was, I believe, 12 or 13 in testing, and yeah, you just stuck it in blue 7s, and this was kind of silly, so it got changed. You didn't even play Yak Attack or anything, you just played Mother of Yaks and went, this is value.
I know Yak Attack also a very good card to feature in something like blue 7s. It does synergize with Mother of Yaks. I've just been using Yak Attack in normal Yak decks as a piece of removal, but I did play a mono blue Yak deck with just a splash of the Topaz. But I actually ended up preferring just kind of like a mid-rangey style Yak deck.
So interesting position on Cypher from CaptainG. He's not using it aggressively, he's just placing it all the way at his orb, saying, okay, yeah, I'm not letting you anywhere close. Okay, that's the Ruby Yak. It is actually a Yak deck.
Yeah, a lot of lands being built by these water elementals here. Ruby Yak, good solid body as well. At a 4/5, it's kind of the same as War Yak, but has an effect which you can abuse in some ways. You can just hurt your Yaks, make them deal damage, and just chip away over time.
Certainly, there have been a lot of people experimenting with various Ruby Yak famine combos. I've seen Ruby Yak, Yak Attack, Famine, I think, or Famine. I've seen Ruby Yak, Fugaro, Urani's Medallion, Famine. There's a lot of variants people have been trying here. That was a good trade from Rundong, taking out the Cypher super efficiently, but Ground Shaker is a nice response. We are getting to whale territory, though. If Rundong can keep his collections going, maybe eat this Ground Shaker, that buys a lot of time.
Speaking of Famine, there's one in this deck to go with the Ruby Yaks, I would imagine. Like I said, Whale's coming up, gonna be able to swallow up this Ground Shaker, maybe just apply pressure aggressively, maybe even stick like an aggro Ruby Yak down. Why not?
Yeah, that's interesting. So he's playing. I don't think he's playing pure combo. He's not. We haven't seen the draw cards and such, but he does have the Ruby Axe and Famine, so he can just do a bit of incidental damage over time. So if he does get like a hit for 6 or whatever, maybe he can finish this in a flurry of Ruby Axe and Famines. It's not like CaptainG's deck is very fast.
We do see the grappling hook picked up as well. Rakoan's not going to do much to a whale at this point, but Baldarian could get a lot done with this grappling hook. Also placed right next to the well, also blocking the the Moby from moving down. I'm just curious to see why this Moby was put in this position.
I guess he was worried about... Oh, okay, he's contesting this side. That's cool.
Ooh, did CaptainG forget about the other Moby, or did he just throw it under the bus? Did he just say, Baldarian, you can be swallowed?
Maybe he didn't notice on such short timers. Like, you can see creation, but it doesn't tell you what was creation. So if you're not paying enough attention, he might have missed what it was. Or maybe he was baiting it. He has this Firestorm Garrodon. So I think he was just sitting there going, let's force both Mobies down and just Garrodon. And like, look at the board now. This is so insane. I mean, he didn't get to make a land, so the Ground Shaker will now die. But he still has Baldurian. It gets to Corrupt next turn. He has these double clicks. He has Garrodon. I think it's very hard for Rundong to come back from this.
Yep, big Garrodon lurking as well. Highly mobile, collects a lot of Faeria. We do see the Frogify going on Baldarian. He's more afraid of the hammer, being able to just remove threats or even just push face damage. But like you said, it's looking very difficult now for a comeback, especially with red. All that removal ready to take out anything that shows up. That's going to be the problem now. How do you ever get your board back?
Yeah, it feels like the mobility is the big part of the problem. Because if Rundong has enough turns, he maybe finds a Ruby Yak kill with Famines. But Garrodon is going to end that a lot faster.
Yeah, Garrodon.
Oh, there's the reverse Garrodon. I don't think it will do quite as much for Rundong, though.
We've just seen the board kind of filling up a little bit here. To deal on the 1 damage with the Sapphire Yak, but Garrodon, makes short work of all of this. Firestorm, easy peasy, Flame Burst to finish it off. Garrodon moves into that aggressive position, and Rundong has no Faeria remaining. It's going to be top decking Faeria, you could say, which is not a good situation to be in.
Yeah, and this Garrodon is camping but 1 land he controls. If he could play this Sapphire Yak and it didn't immediately die, that would actually be it's something, right? Maybe you can get the aggro down, maybe you can finish with this other Ruby Yak. But I think that 1 turn difference is just too much.
Ground Shaker just coming down, setting up lethal, and there we go, a scoop. No more. The red control once again takes the game, being very dominant for CaptainG in the series so far. Rundong on his final deck. What is it? Who knows? It has Garrodon. That's all we know.
So it's 2 neutrals, set 21 mountain, 7 desert. So that's not Scourge Frame, right? Because that would be at least 9 deserts. What?
Yeah. Maybe it's Reacts again. You could use Topaz Yaks. Was it 4 deserts, did you say?
He had 7 deserts.
Oh, 7. Yeah, it's hard to say at this point. But we do see a little hint of what's to come. We see Lair, we see Gift, we see Grappling Hook. So maybe some form of combat deck?
Yeah, I mean, Gift makes that a reasonably good bet. It looks quite controlling with the Lair, Grappling Hook, Lair, Garrodon, and Firestorm. So this might be a long one here. So if he has 3 Spirit Thefts, that would be 6 of the deserts. So that seems pretty plausible.
Yeah, maybe another kind of event control deck, potentially. I don't know. It's hard to say. We see Spirit Theft, Firestorm. We've seen Gift of Steel, so there's got to be some combat creatures in here. Just curious of what ones have been decided on. And look at this. Just keeps drawing all this removal. Nothing to kill. Divine Guardian just sitting there saying, nah, not going to happen.
Yeah, this is a very bad spot for Rundong. He's already behind a few collects, and then there's this really nice trade for CaptainG. He can Ground Shaker into Flame Blast. The positioning is interesting. I think I would have just put the Ground Shaker one up from its current position. But maybe he's looking at... Well, I guess he just wants to get the Divine Guardian into the well long term.
Zusi Grimguard, one of the combat creatures featured in this build. Not much going on, unfortunately. Really falling behind on the Faeria as well. We get to see a double collect, so CaptainG just really in a strong position and not even concerned about this statue. Actually, this statue's probably helping CaptainG, just stopping Rundong from answering these problems.
It looks like Rundong's relying on Garradon to bail him out in this situation. Which, I mean, might work, but CaptainG at the moment isn't forced to play any more creatures. And in fact, it's hard for him to do that. Wait, did someone miss their turn?
I think that's Rundong quickly trying to figure out what to do. I mean, again, 20 seconds. It's just occurred to me again that we only have 20 seconds to figure stuff out. It's probably going to build towards a potential Garradon Firestorm the next couple of turns, but it's so slow. And CaptainG will just have a mountain of Faeria once that goes off.
Yeah, this is pretty rough for Rundong, but I mean, it's very hard for CaptainG to close, and these Spirit Thefts could eventually be quite good value. He can steal Ground Shakers, he can pop the shield on Baldurian, he can steal Baldurian. There's a lot of good targets, but I just don't see any reason for CaptainG to play any more creatures. He's just going to sit here triple collecting for as many turns as Rundong wants to wait.
Yep, and just build up on that removal as well. Havoc now in hand, can start drawing cards next turn. Could even just slot the Divine Guardian in if there's no pressure on the left-hand side. We know we're going to see something happen at least. It's going to be Gift.
I like this call from Rundong to just say I need to get some sort of collection going, and he's still left himself... Well, he can't do the Firestorm Garradon this turn, but he can do it soon. The pre-buff, however, gets punished pretty hard.
Yeah, big 2 cards for one Faeria loss as well. It's going to add up for Rundong going into the future because just collecting. I don't know. Maybe you should have went for the Garradon line. It's going to go for Garradon Spirit Theft instead. So steal in the Fairy. Nice. So that's pretty good.
That is pretty nice, and he still has the option to Firestorm next turn. It's not like any of these creatures get a chance to trade into Garradon before that happens. And there isn't actually a kill for Garradon here until he got that grappling hook. It's a pretty good grappling hook.
That's pretty nasty.
That is very bad for Rundong. He gets a nice Firestorm here, but he's just so far behind.
Yeah, the Firestorm's not even relevant. It kills a couple of things. Ground Shaker, on the left still collects, and you just set up another Divine Guardian on the double collection on the right and kind of go from there. It's just when does CaptainG want to win? I think that's the biggest question right now.
Well, again, CaptainG has a bit of a problem when it comes to closing out the game, and that his actual threats are pretty much just Ground Shaker, Baldurian, Cypher, Garradon. He only has 7 things in his deck that can actually realistically kill an opponent, and 2 or 3 of them already died this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long match for CaptainG to close out. He's gonna have to just chip away slowly. Rundong again, just still in that position where he's getting out harvested. He has some removal options, but they're not that great. It's just, where do you go from here? It's Shadow Silk Fairy. Probably not going to live. We'll have to see if any more removal options are picked up.
That's interesting, since its current position can't collect. I wonder what Rundong's plan is. I wonder if he's just going to move it into the center of the map and say I can start collecting the turn afterwards. The Lyre statue has been pretty interesting. On the one hand, it was stopping the Divine Guardian from double collecting on its own, but on the other hand, it makes it really hard to pressure that Divine Guardian.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work out. I think Rundong wants to pull a Gift of Steel here and then grappling hooks to face and trigger the Corrupt. He could do that, right? He could just grappling hook face now and make an aggressive land into a creature.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe this is how he has to do it. Ooh, training's in the deck. So that's... Okay, so he doesn't have all the...
Opts not
I
to
might
go
be
for a Brigand here. Brigand was on the cards, but decides to not play into potential removal, I guess. But I suppose, again, if you pick up Firestorm in this situation, you do clear out one of those threats, one of those few threats that the red deck has.
So what's Rundong's plan from here? I mean, if he kills Lyre, it's actually pretty funny. It makes it quite hard for that Ground Shaker to get into combat.
Ooh, going for the big body. I like this.
Yeah, he's just gonna try to race. He's gonna try to say, CaptainG, you have infinite Faeria, but maybe because you don't have infinite lands, you can't stop this. Like, Faeria is stepping on one of the closest mountains, right?
Double Firestorm. Cypher's Wrath. Feels bad.
Oh, we're lost. Could have Havoced. But yeah, I think that's the end of Rundong's chances in this game.
I do like the creativity of kind of trying to get around this matchup with that grappling hook. Got the trigger off on it as well, so able to draw more events. But it's just unfortunate that CaptainG was just so far ahead. There's just nothing really he could do.
Yeah, Rundong just didn't have any early collectors. His opponent had collected maybe 3 times before he played his first creature, and then it immediately died to Ground Shaker Flameburst. And that's so hard to come back from, even in a control match. Like, even in slower control matchup, the game is snowbally enough that, yeah, like, CaptainG just had infinite Faeria to deal with all of Rundong's threats.
To be fair, it is going to be a slow burner in terms of finishing the game. It just, when the Ground Shaker comes down or something from CaptainG, it'll be okay. But, Ground Shaker here looks all right. Your opponent's got a slow way to climb to this victory, but all that removal is just like, you're never going to have anything stick. That's the unfortunate thing.
I wonder if he just Firebomb Cyphers for the extra 2 damage. Yeah, he's doing it. So instead of Havoc, you just go, screw it. 2 damage is 2 damage. And now he's threatening lethal. He doesn't even need any particular... Oh, I lied. That was the Shimmering Statue. But
there we have it. CaptainG taking the first round here against Rundong. 2 of the top competitors in the Faeria World Circuit, testing their mettle against 20 seconds of turn timers. And to be fair, pretty good, I thought. Both of them were pretty good at managing their turns.
Yeah, no one really looked like they were pressured into making a serious mistake from the Blitz timer. They handled that quite well. So yeah, that was interesting. It was first cast of a Blitz game.
Yeah, I was expecting to be like not being able to keep up, but I think 20 seconds is pretty good. It's fast enough where you have to be quite hasty. You have to be quite quick with your decision making, but not too fast that you can't have a quick think about things and assess things and move forward from there. So 20 seconds seems pretty good, actually. I'm quite happy with how it's played out. CaptainG taking a win there, 3-1. Taking out one of the stronger competitors of the event as well. So a big win for CaptainG. I wouldn't be surprised if we'll see CaptainG much later on in the tournament.